Miami on the Rocks, Casey Chopz. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at MIA on the Rocks. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Today's guest. This is the first guest we've had that has a Grammy award winning producer, artist, group, member of major group, Major Lazer with Diplo and 8 drums. I got Walshy Fire in here. What's up, my brother?
Yo.
How are you? How's everything, bro?
I'm blessed, man.
Good? How's the COVID quarantine vibe? Are you're in Miami, so how are you feeling with all this bullshit?
It's blessed, man. It's a good time to realign.
Yeah.
Restart, refresh.
Did you learn anything about yourself during this whole, last year? Did you, physically, mentally, anything you got from it?
Nah, I know myself.
Okay.
I think maybe the only thing is this. You see this? It's just pressure, and I'm not new to that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that anybody out there was alive during the 2008 crash, anybody that was alive during 9/11. You kind of remember when things begin to change, when big moments happen, and the world changes, and the world changes, and the world changes. And a lot of people don't survive those moments. The pressure get too much for them. You know what I'm saying? And so this ain't the first time for me. This is probably the third time as an adult with this kind of new pressure. And what you gonna do? How you gonna survive? How you gonna make it happen?
Got you. And for me and you, we make our living with events and being around people. Did that aspect of it, fuck with you at all? As far as just like not being able to tour, not being able to.
Yeah, but again, it's pressure, man. But man, big up, man. It's good to see you, my brother.
Yeah,
it's good to
likewise,
be here, man.
Likewise, bro.
Let me get my energy up. Shout out to everybody out there that's gonna watch this, man. It's gonna be well entertaining. I'm gonna say a lot of things that's gonna make a lot of people wonder and think. And it's going to be awkward in some spaces. Okay. And you know what I'm saying? We're going to push some hot buttons, man. We're going to make sure that the people get a great interview and that they get some information that'll hopefully motivate, inspire.
For sure.
Take them to a new level.
Could we go back to your beginnings of your story?
Carol City.
Born in Carol City.
100%.
You're half Jamaican, half Chinese.
I'm fully Jamaican.
Yeah,
my mom Chinese Jamaican.
Okay, yeah. Chinese Jamaican, and you were born in Carol City.
Yes.
You've always spent a lot of time in Jamaica.
Always.
Okay.
Yeah, I would go back every summer and Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you talk about your inspirations? Being born in Carol City and then always going back to Jamaica. Yeah,
it's crazy because if anybody knows anything about Carol City, they know that that's a very Caribbean neighborhood as well. It's a lot of Bahamians, a lot of Haitians, a lot of Jamaicans, a lot of Trinis, and stuff like that. So it's a very Brooklyn-esque part of Miami.
Got you.
Where most people's parents or grandparents were coming from somewhere else. Okay. There's a lot of Black Americans as well, but there's a lot of people that came from other areas, especially in the New Orleans area. Okay. So you end up with this mixture of influences. A very Miami side one. Where you're going to get your, and I guess I'm speaking in musical terms, but I'm going to try and expand outside of that. But you're going to get your love for a Acura Legend just like you get for a Dunk.
Gotcha.
It's a weird space. You know what I'm saying? Because those are the two vehicles that might have been going up and down 183rd Street the most. So you end up with sort of weird love with it. You'll have cats that were straight, like straight Jamaican, like straight from it. They have permanent gold teeth in their mouth. You know what I'm saying? It became this kind of like Miami energy mixed with the Caribbean energy, which I think was happening all over Miami, but for sure in Carol City, it was a very, very like good mixture. It was those two things, and you loved it. I loved it. I defended it. I still defend it. It's the best mixture of cultures I think anyone could have ever experienced, and I think it gave me the launching pad to go into the world and do stuff like Major Lazer and Black Chinese and other things like that, because I came from a place where I totally understood what was happening in two different worlds.
Got you. And where does the music start for you though? Can you speak on your influences growing up?
It start with the old girl. Start with mom. She would be cleaning on Sunday and playing songs like Someone Loves You Honey by J.C. Lodge and songs like Stealing Love on the Side and those kinds of songs. And then, I would step outside and it would be MC Shy D and Gucci Crew 2 and, Luke. It would be all of the stuff, Jam Pony tapes, Disco Dave tapes, Sugar Hill. It would be all of that.
So well-rounded, like a big sun culture.
But it would be loud. Carol City's a loud place. It'd be loud. There was no ducking or dodging music.
Right.
And that's why I think so much people from Carol City do music. You're not gonna get around it. And then I would go to Jamaica for the summers or for Christmas and stuff like that, and it'd be a whole other set of music. So that original attachment to music, like as in memories, you start to put, I remember what happened that day, because I remember the song that was playing that day. I remember going to Goombay. I remember going to the Pac Jam. I remember going to all these places.
Wow.
And it's music that attaches that to the memory. You know, so.
And does it start, what does it start producing for you? Does it start DJing for you? Does it start MCing for you?
I didn't start none of that until I moved to Atlanta. At 18 years old, I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
And I went to Clark Atlanta University.
Okay.
So that's where you get my for real step into music, because they had a jazz station there, and I interned at the jazz station, WCLK. Glenn Simmons, rest in peace. Thank you so much for the opportunity you gave me. But that's where my music journey really starts.
Okay.
Before that, I'm just fucking around. I'm just partying.
Okay.
I'm just enjoying music at the block parties. The jazz station is when it got for real. I learned how to do reel-to-reels. I learned how to be a broadcaster on air. And then Glenn Simmons had a 2-hour reggae show on Saturdays. I would go there, began to talk on the radio, things like that. So, I personally would say that's where music became like, yo, I should do this. Like,
I have a question. Was it a culture shock for you being in Atlanta? Because does Atlanta have a Caribbean culture like that? When you come from, Miami, you come from, Jamaica, and you go to Atlanta where, there's no really island culture over there. So,
but I'm good.
Right.
Because it's a lot of things that's relatable still. The struggle.
Right.
You see somebody going through something, you get it.
Right.
The hood, anywhere in the world. I've been, you could ask anybody that's traveled. You go to Brazil, you go to, South Africa, you go to India, the hood is still the hood.
Right.
And there's still a relatability to those people going through situations. And so, Atlanta for me was a great introduction into some new sounds. I began to learn music and culture from around America, Philly, DC, Chicago, Detroit, LA were the major influences in Atlanta. Florida didn't really have a major influence outside of music, where bass music was big in Atlanta. And you had songs like Last Night I Dreamed of You, and a lot of those songs that were very familiar in energy, because I'm coming from Miami, and those were big songs in Atlanta. And at the time, they had a Bankhead Bounce Dance.
Yeah, that was the So Def era. Like that.
And I'm going to clubs like 559 in Atlanta where Little John is DJing and stuff like that. And, I'm at Clark Atlanta with DJ Drama and Cannon and Trendsetter Sense and Bomani Jones. We all went to Clark Atlanta together. So it's like I'm into a whole new energy. Drama them was from Philly. So they was playing a lot of Philly stuff. And then there was a group of people from DC, and they was playing go-go music.
Wow.
And then you go, you hang out with the Chicago dudes and the Detroit dudes, and they was playing like ghetto tech and juke music, where it was house music. It's basically house music, and songs like I'm gonna tell you right now, the biggest song ever. I brought my laptop.
Yeah, I got the you're 21 years old at this time with
I'm
all
legit,
this.
Man.
Yeah,
I'm 18,
bro. You got the Caribbean vibe, the Atlanta vibe. Like, you're well rounded for your age. Like,
I'm gonna tell anybody. I say it every single interview. Nobody, I don't think there's nobody, and I'll argue with anybody else. There's nobody that has been more musically prepped than me. I look at everybody that is like a star, like the Pharrells and the Timbalands, and I realize that they're great at what they did, but they were very much in their world, right? And I'm one of the few people that got a chance to be in their world, coming from a different world, while in a different world, because there was a bunch of people from Virginia in Atlanta, and I would have been hearing that sound. It would have originally started with like Rump Shaker and what's buddy name that sang that song? I forgot his name, but yeah, Rump Shaker and that whole.
So you were ahead of your
Rex
time.
in Effect, yeah.
Got you. You were ahead of your time with blending genres. Now it's kind of the norm to like not categorize music and not put music in a box. But back then, you have all these influences. So you're probably into, wanting to combine sounds and bring different worlds together. That wasn't a thing back then.
Right. But I got to say, man, shout out to the young God. Lil Jon. You know, he did a remix of a song, of a Capleton song, Tour. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
After me left from Jamaica, gone off our on tour.
No.
Man, I might even have it here for you. But it was on Slick Rick's children's story. This was big. This was big.
What year is this? Okay.
This was big.
Yeah.
This was huge. This had to be
90s,
like
though.
90, mid 90s.
Yeah.
But when I tell you, this was huge, right? And Lil Jon did that, you know, and
Lil Jon has always been like that as well, like embracing other worlds. He fucked with Pitbull early, you know what I mean? Like
correct. You know, him, Akon are the two people I when I was in Atlanta, I would see them all the time. You know, I would see Akon's brother all the time on campus too. And you would always see that they were involved in the African side, the Caribbean side, the African American side. Like they were dipped into everything and strongly understood all those cultures. Lil Jon's one of those people that strongly understood that culture. And I can't go around like not admitting his insane influence on myself and like DJ Drama.
Right.
Because DJ Drama was a reggae DJ. He only did reggae. He was doing reggae.
Wow, that's a crazy fact. I didn't know that.
He was only doing reggae. He was doing reggae mixtapes.
Okay.
And he had dreads and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, I didn't know that.
And he eventually, I think, began to be like, yo, I'm going to do hip-hop tapes too. But I really think it's Lil Jon that kind of like influenced everybody to be like, man, just do what you want.
Step out the box.
Do what feels good and just go with it. Yeah. So shout out to the God, Lil Jon, for real. But yeah, man, I wanted to play this other song real quick, man. This song to me is like the epitome of music that nobody knows, but everybody knows it feels good and sounds good from the first time you hear it.
Where is this from?
This is Follow Me, Alias. This is from Detroit.
Okay, there's that house wave you're talking about.
Yeah. This one of them songs, man, like you play this at a club anywhere in America. It's some barbecue music, but they're gonna go crazy. And I'll just skip to it because obviously it's house music, so it's gonna be long.
Follow me, yeah. Follow me. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Follow me. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me.
So, you know, that's the kind
So
of
that's
stuff.
one of the early beginnings where you get like soul and house music.
Man, you don't even understand. I gotta re-say this to everybody, man. Being a Jip from Miami, everything was moving real fast. We listening to songs like Barry White, Look at Her, and Barry White, King Kong, and Doodoo Brown, and it's bam, 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 bam. And you know, I'm coming from the Pac Jam too, so partying is totally different. It's just gong, 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 gong. And then I get to Atlanta, and Detroit cats are listening to that. You know, it's a whole other energy.
Right.
And then the New York cats was listening to songs like I Want to Thank You, Heavenly Father. You don't even understand. I had never heard that song before. You know what I'm saying? I had never heard Kenny Burke Keep Rising to the Top.
Okay.
You know, doom, do 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 doom, do doom, 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 do 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 do. Yo, and I'm in the party, and I'm a jit. I'm 18, and I'm looking at all these other kids just like me, the same age like me, go crazy. Like Hot Music. You remember that song, Hot Music? Man, you know I'm a nerd, man. So you know,
And
for me, music.
Walshy, forgive me because I'm 32, so I'm a little younger. Like
Yeah, I mean, you a little younger, but at the same time, it's never too late to learn.
Yeah, no, for
you know
sure.
what I'm saying? But this right here,
Oh, okay, yeah, say no more.
man, hot music.
Yeah.
People, I don't think y'all understand. I had never heard that song before, and at 18 years old, I go to a party at the warehouse, and this song, Hot Music, is the song. There's no rap song bigger than that song. Hot Music is bigger than any current newly made song at that time.
Wow.
And I never heard it in my life. And the beat kicks in. Bop, bop, boom, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop, bop, bop. The fucking club go crazy.
Damn.
And I'm just sitting there like, and I remember it was me, my dog Rashad from Miami, because, you know, Florida people, we don't really go out of state. We stay in state. So it was only like 5 of us from Florida in Atlanta. And I just remember me, I'm wearing my Dickie suit, he wearing his Dickie suit. I got my dreads all up, looking crazy. And we both just standing there and we like, damn, this shit going crazy, man. I don't know what the fuck he playing. And then you just like, damn, but that shit fire though. The soul in it, it's undeniable. And I think that's the theme of what I've been saying from the beginning of this interview is that it's undeniable. You ain't got to know it to hear it and be like, that shit's good.
Right.
And so, you know, my musical journey has been one where I've just been grabbing everything that felt good, even if I didn't understand it. You know, when I go back to my mom and her music, I didn't know nothing about love. I don't know nothing about what the fuck they talking about. They played the song was called "Stealing Love on the Side." Shit, I don't know nothing about cheating. I don't know nothing about none of that. But I know it's good, and I get the soul, and I get the soul, and I get the soul, and straight up to going to Atlanta, I'm hearing music, and I don't know it, but I'm getting the soul of it, and so I believe that I've been really good at receiving good music, and receiving the messages from good music, and being able to eventually one day interpret that and put that in my own
express
music.
it in your own way.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your story. How long are you in Atlanta?
4 years. Yeah, I went to Clark Atlanta for 4
okay.
years. Yeah, and then I worked at IBM after.
In Atlanta?
In Smyrna, Georgia.
And then you going back to Miami eventually, or?
I go to Tallahassee.
Oh.
Right. So I got really, I didn't like Atlanta.
Okay.
Right. It wasn't really I didn't like Atlanta. I hated IBM. And I hated corporate life. And I hated how much, this is my first interaction with white people as well. So I didn't know any white people before IBM. And that's from Jamaica, Miami, Atlanta. I knew no white people.
You're in college studying what? Like you think
marketing.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So then at IBM, there's only 5 black people there, like 2,000 white people. So this is my first time, and I ended up hating it. And I was like, yo, I can't fuck with white people like this, man.
Yeah.
They're weird. So I eventually
it destroys culture.
It's
when
horrible,
you put that
man.
corporate white shit in
horrible,
anywhere,
bro.
it destroys culture.
We talked about it on the ride up. Yeah, it's the as my friend off Broadway, Dre would say, it's the vibe eradicator.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you could have a great energy, a great creative, flow, and the corporateness comes and just chops it.
Money. You put money in something, it's gonna. Money will kill culture, and that's why I'm defending Wynwood so hard right now, because Wynwood is such a beautiful place right now. And I just see it. I see the pictures of what they're building, and I'm just like, nah,
don't do it,
man.
I was there when it happened in Coconut Grove. Coconut Grove used to be the spot, and then all those buildings got built up, and they killed Coconut Grove, man. I remember we used to take the vert out and ride up and down Coconut Grove, and then eventually they started giving us tickets and telling us they don't want our cars on the streets in Coconut Grove. So you couldn't ride a dunk through Coconut Grove at one time. Right. They was killing it. And
they want to take the culture and make money from it too, when it's convenient for them, you know?
Exactly. But let me go back to what I'm saying real quick about the corporate world and how it affects your peace, your mind. We were speaking on some things briefly before the show, but anybody out there that works a 9-to-5 job understands that your boss has a boss, and usually that boss has a boss. And so what you end up having is a lot of people who are very scared. Nobody wants to lose their job. And so corporate companies are very much like, it's just McDonald's cashier above McDonald's cashier above McDonald's cashier. And when I say McDonald's cashier, I mean that person at the McDonald's cash register doesn't want to lose their job.
You're just an employee at the end of the day.
Just an employee. So if I tell you, man, it's going to cost you 25 cents for that extra barbecue sauce, you're yelling at me now and going, 25 cents for some fucking barbecue sauce? Bitch, give me some fucking barbecue sauce. Stop playing.
Right.
You don't see that I'm just working.
You're just relaying messages up a chain. Like
somebody told me it cost 25 cents for the extra barbecue sauce, and now I tell you that. And as mad as you get, I don't care.
Right.
And that's the difference. That's what corporate world is, right? So you end up working this job and you're just like, fuck, man. This shit sucks. And you realize that the person that's making it suck for you is also in a sucky situation. And their person above them is in a sucky situation. And they all just are like, yo, I don't care.
Yeah.
I can't lose my job.
It's capitalism, man.
Yeah, man. So, it is what it is. I quit. It's a funny story on why I quit though. I was already like not into it, but me being who I is, and anybody that's ever known me know there's no point to a job if there's not a hookup. So when I used to work at my first job was selling tapes in the streets. I used to walk around with a boombox.
Carol Martin shit?
Carol Martin, but also like on South Beach. I used to walk around on South Beach selling tapes back when South Beach was hood. But, I used to walk around on South Beach selling tapes. I used to walk around Liberty City selling tapes. I used to walk around everywhere with tapes. And people knew that's the hookup. Then after that, I worked at a barbershop in Carroll City, Mr. Russell's barbershop. It's a barbershop that's in a house. And they know, okay, yeah, I'm going to go get a cut from him because that's the hookup. Then I ended up working at a place called Long John Silver's on 183rd next to American High School. And I'm throwing free food out the window because that's the hookup. So when I worked at IBM, you're trying to figure out what's the hookup. What can I do to make people be like, damn, he hooked that up. And one guy called from Barbados, a black guy from Barbados called, and the IBM way to do anything, and I think the corporate way to do anything is to lie. And you have to tell people, I can't fix your problem, which is what I see Apple doing now, which is very much like, oh man, that phone is old. We can't even service that. I don't know what you're going to do. You just should get a new phone.
New one, yeah.
That's what I used to do to literally all day long. That's all I did, was lie. Somebody call. They say, hey, man, I got some issues here with my mainframe because I did mainframes. He'd be like, whoo, man, how old's your mainframe? 6 months. You should just get a new one. A new one costs $250,000. So I hustled that, and I get commission off of those sales. So anyways, the black guy calls. I'm not doing that to him. I had no problem running that trick with white people. But, man, when the black guy called, I just was like, man, and he from Barbados. I was like, man, I can't do it. So I say, man, check this out, man, $9,000. I'll fly somebody out there. They'll bring the parts. They'll fix your problem. We good. Fixes the problem. He calls my boss the next day and it's like, yo, man, this employee is the best employee you've ever had. He's awesome. My boss pulls me into the office and goes, why'd you do that? That's not what we do. You could have sold him a whole new unit. Instead, you helped fix his unit. And from that, my soul just no longer was in it. I realized that, I'm not here.
Capitalism is just about sucking money out.
I'm not here to help people. I'm here to make money.
It's like in the medical field too. I had a doctor on here talking about she quit the medical field because she realized this isn't about helping sick people. This is about how much money we could squeeze out of insurance
companies. I gotta watch that one because I'm into that. But my mind switched after that. My mind switched off, to be honest with you. And I was like, yo, I got to do something. And so a lot of my friends, they had gone to school in Tallahassee. So I'm just like, man, I'm calling them. They're like, man, why don't you just come to Tallahassee, dog? Just stay on the couch and figure it out. So I do that. I quit IBM. Very well paying job if I haven't like injected that. For people who don't know what IBM is or was, IBM was easily the number one company to work for in America.
So you was always good in school?
I was great, yeah. Always. Okay. I got a mama that need me, so. But I worked at a job that job paid very well at the time. This is the late 90s. So, for me, I was like, yo, I'm out. And so my boys say, yeah, come crash at the crib in Tallahassee. And then I just was like, yo, well, while I'm here, why don't I just apply for grad school and see if I can get in? I got into FAMU and I ended up getting a master's degree in journalism. And so that ended up like really solidifying me being into music because now journalism had 3 parts: radio, film, TV. I chose radio. So now I'm doing the same kind of radio thing I was doing in Atlanta, but with the degree behind me and on a much more urban setting. And so I started working in the field up there, and then, that was it. I just was into radio after that. I came out to Miami, got on Mix 96, then got on 103.5 The Beat, and did radio for about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, so you come back to Miami, and so you're basically, your introduction into making money from music is in the radio. You're not
with
DJing.
The hustle. Right.
You're not mixing, you're just on the personality on the mic at the time.
I'm a personality on the mic. It's the hustle.
Got you.
But I decided let me stop. Right before back to Miami, I decided to go to Brooklyn.
Damn, bro. Man.
So I was like, I'm going to do music. And then I just thought about it. And I'm just sitting in my brain. I'm like, man, where's the number one place for music? New York City.
At the time, yeah.
At that time, 99, 2000, 2001. So I'm like, you know what, man? I'm going to move to New York. Because if that's where the best are doing it, I got to be with the best. And I decided to do that. And that's exactly what I did, man. So shout out to Daga, rest in peace, my best friend. His murder is still unsolved. And we hustled in New York, man. We made New York. I'll tell you something, man. New York before 9/11, boy, Wild West, especially in Canarsie where we were staying. That whole Crip thing started to pop off at that time. And, you know, for me, Miami was never into that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we're not gangbanging.
we're not
in
doing
Miami
that.
like that.
Yeah, it'd be more like streets and crews and parks. But so I had to stand on my own too. And, you know, I would go from Canarsie to downtown Brooklyn and then sometimes go up to the Bronx. And at that time, Latin Kings and Bloods and Crips all knew. And they all looking to rep. You get on the train, and they trying to slice you just to get into the gang and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a wild time.
It was a wild time, boy. So, you know, and then I started to pick up a lot of the income streams that my boy Dagger was doing at the time, and we ended up both going to prison at the same time in New York and Brooklyn. So, you know, when I got out, I realized, like, man, I got this love for music. And I've never really taken the time to be like, man, let me get into it. So I ended up getting a job at a spot called Beat Street Records, downtown Brooklyn. Shout out to Dagger once again, because he did get me that job. Shout out to Culture.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you're in late 90s in Brooklyn. Would you say this is like where Caribbean reggae music is like in a really good place at this time? And like almost like the golden era. Like
maybe you could say golden era, but for sure it's at a high. It's at an extreme high. Yeah.
Right.
You know, so I get this job at Beat Street, which was easily the #1 record shop in the world. Maybe like it's the most iconic place you could work at in a record shop. And I'm meeting everybody. I'm meeting Kid Capri, Jazzy Jeff, Biz Marquis. You know, I'm meeting every single DJ that mattered. And I start getting gigs. I start opening. I start carrying boxes. I start networking. I start leveraging my ability to sell somebody records.
DJ.
So now I'm starting to buy records and go out and DJ.
Got you.
Let's say steal records, but you know what I'm saying? I'm starting to get records and go out and DJ. And so, you know, a lot of it really started with coming home and realizing, like, I got to do this for real. And Dagger was still locked up at the time, and he came home a little while after. And he continues to do a lot of the things that we was doing before. And he ended up getting murdered shortly after. So that was when I was like, all right, now I'm going to go back to Miami. Okay. So that's when I went back to Miami after that. And then, you know.
What year is this?
This has got to be 2000, 2001. Yeah, early 2000.
Okay. And what's the state of Miami at the time? Like,
it's weird, man, because pirate radio is popping.
Right.
Big time. And I love pirate radio. So I was like, I got to get on pirate radio. I wanted to be on pirate radio more than regular radio.
Really?
You could say anything. You could do anything. And the people were calling. The phone lines are going crazy. And the person at the top is a hustler. And the person that's, you know.
It's not a suit. It's not corporate. They're not trying to sell ads. Yeah.
All they want to do is get you to get their party popping. They got a party and they want you to get it popping. And you do whatever you got to do to get that party popping. And I loved it. When I went over to 103.5 to Beat, man, that was not it. That's when I was like, damn, I can't do this.
Yeah.
You know, so I did that for a little while, but yeah, pirate radio was it for me because you could truly be yourself. There wasn't even a time slot. You show up.
when you and yeah, that's how Khaled made his name too. Let's be clear.
Same station, Big and
right. When you came back and started DJing, did you know have like that Jamaican style, like
Correct.
like? Okay, so as soon as you started DJing, you're like, yo, I'm gonna just embrace my Jamaican roots and have that style.
In a way.
Okay.
I was still doing the more Yankee stuff.
Got you.
Over Jamaican music.
Got
so
you.
I had my teachers are Uncle Al.
Okay.
I do what Uncle Al does over dancehall.
Okay.
I become this unique, one of a kind person.
Okay.
And even the Miami DJs that were Jamaican that grew up in Miami begin to see that the two worlds, which were pretty separate in style, could merge as one. So you start to see a lot of other DJs that go, oh man, I grew up in Miami too. Why don't I just do this kind of like regulating and talking over the
So Walshy, educate me a little bit, because Jamaican style, they've always been heavy on the mic.
Right.
Uncle Al was always heavy on the mic.
Heavy.
So what's the difference?
The difference is regulating. You know, in the Jamaican style, there's bar talk. So basically, a song would have a 4-bar intro, and in that 4-bar intro, you're trying to say something clever, so that when you get out of the 4 bars, whatever the first couple words of whatever he's saying are going to connect with whatever you just said.
Understood.
Right.
So it's almost like you're kind of like rapping a 4-bar, like a.
Not rapping, but you're making a big speech. You do it for 4 bars, you do it for 8 bars, but whatever you're saying, you have that amount of time to make it make sense with whatever is about to come next. So if you were to say play Everyone Falls in Love, right? And that's Everyone Falls in Love sometime. All right. So before that, I have 4 bars to say, I don't know about you guys, but I know as tough as you are, as much as you try to run from somebody, yo, just remember. And then everyone falls.
Okay.
Right? So that's a Jamaican style. And the place goes crazy because they go, okay, what you just said made sense with the song.
Did they talk over the rest of the record, or was it just that intro? Over the rest of the record, they then would say things like so and right and little things. Got you.
At that time, talking over it wasn't as big as it is now. It's actually much bigger now. But at that time, the intro was the main part. And then you might let the song play for a little while, and then you'd mix in and do intro. Was
this every record they would leave intro time?
Every record, intro time. Every record, intro time. Every single record. So as the next one, as you see him let it go, you lower the volume. And you know you got 4 bars to say something. Yeah, and this is going to be so nerdy for everybody out there that's not into music. If you like music, this is not for you. If you love music, you're having a good time right now. But for sure, we definitely nerding out right now. And then Miami music was much different. Miami music was song start. DJ remember every single word in the song. Take out this word, put his word in, bring the next word back up, take it out, put his word in, put the next word back up, and basically regulate over a song. Mic check over a song.
Inserting your own lines, inserting your own bars.
Correct. To alter the meaning of the entire song.
Right.
I started to do that on dancehall.
Okay. Wow.
So I became an Uncle Al on dancehall music.
Wow.
You know, and a Jam Pony on dancehall music. Wow. And it was working. You know what I'm saying? Because we in Florida. Everybody gets it.
Did you get a chance to take that style to Jamaica and do that in Jamaica?
No, it wouldn't have worked in Jamaica.
Okay.
But here, totally works.
Okay.
If I go to New York, I had to dumb it down a little bit, but I can still do it because it's funny.
Right.
That's all that matters. Is it's entertaining, and I was very good at it. I was extremely good at it. I'm being humble. I was the fucking man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's real talk, man. Nobody could get on a microphone in Miami and beat me at that. I go to any reggae party and just destroy the place.
So when you're in Miami DJing now with this new style that you've adopted, what clubs are you doing at this time?
Well, I joined a group called Black China. Okay. And we're the #1 sound system in the world.
Right.
And that's based on my ability to do that, as well as Super Dupes and Willie Chin's ability to make remixes, you know, taking reggae vocals and putting them on hip hop beats. And Bobby Chin was extremely good at making people laugh. And so he would say the meanest things and the most hurtful things, and the crowd would just go crazy with laughter. It'd be so fucking funny. And so that group, it just melted the world, man. We had the world on lock. We had the world on absolute lock. And so that's what I started to do. I started to do clubs as the sound system Black China.
And you're touring at this point.
Touring the world at this point. Wow. This is, you know, early 2000s, 2005, things like that. We're the biggest thing on the planet.
And you're not, because shout out to Super Dupes, he's a legend.
Big time.
And are you producing records, or you're just
I'm watching
emceeing
Dupes
them?
produce. I'm just emceeing. I'm watching Dupes produce, and Willie Chin is beginning to produce. But I'm watching Dupes produce remixes and get dub plates and things like that. And even he himself wasn't producing at that time, but he's doing production. He is producing because he's making remixes.
Right.
And so, yeah, you know, when he started to actually put out records, that's when he began to step away from Black China and really focus on making music.
Right.
But yeah.
I don't want to jump too far ahead to the story because I want to get to the Major Lazer part.
Yeah.
But what is happening in between, you know, after that and before Major Lazer?
Oh, man. Before that, we just touring. Before that, we're clashing. We're doing all kind of stuff.
Okay.
Everything before Major Lazer was Black China. I did Black China for like 12 years.
Right.
And then Diplo was a fan of Black China. You know, he's from Fort Lauderdale. He went to Plantation High School.
Right.
So he was a fan of Black China, and then he was just like, yo, can I get some of those remixes? And I was like, yeah, I got you. And we just became friends. And then one day he just was like, yo, man, I need an MC for a show. Could you come do it? And that's exactly how I got on Major Lazer.
Wow, that's how it started.
Yeah.
And how was your initial, reaction to Diplo being that, like you said, like just a white dude, like, yo, let me get some of these remixes. Like, how do you,
No, his spirit was good, man. His soul was good, man.
From his energy, right? When you meet
his
him.
energy was good. We clicked like best friends, and to this day, we speak every single day.
Right. That's awesome, bro. So Major Lazer happens, and this starts just you emceeing for Diplo.
Correct.
During his sets. And then, so Major Lazer happens, and you guys are...
We going crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to think like, oh, Walshy Fire just was emceeing for his set. We going crazy.
Yeah.
The shit was going crazy.
Trust me.
Black China was already like going crazy. And
Right.
then when I started to MC for West, it goes crazy.
Right.
Like stage dives, you know what I'm saying? The hamster ball, like the shows are going crazy. People are hanging from the
Right.
rafters.
I want to get into that show you guys did in Cuba as well,
Yeah,
which
it was
is
a
some
big-
legendary shit.
Yeah, 400,000.
But yeah, crazy. But I don't want to get to that yet. But can you speak to Diplo's genius? Kind of what he brings to...
He's a true genius, man. And to be honest with you, he's very similar to me in life experience, being a part of music. And that's why I think like, man, we just gonna be undefeated. There's nobody that's gonna beat us at what we do because we grew up in Florida. Growing up in Florida is the ultimate foundation for music. And I mean that after I've lived in New York, I lived in DC, I lived in
Atlanta.
Toronto, I lived in Atlanta, and I've lived in a few other little countries. I realized there's no other place that had so much multicultural influence on music in-house, at home team, like Florida. We had freestyle music. We had bass music. We had gangster rap. Like,
House music, reggae.
When I think
it
about,
doesn't stop Latin.
When I think about the Latin music, how that all is like a whole other world of influence, and how we were listening to it regularly. Haitian music, regular, reggae, regular. Everybody here has all of that in them. So we now go out into the world, and everybody's like, yo, why is it that you're so easily relatable to everything? You go into any space and somebody plays something brand new and you catch it like this and you produce one. And it's just like you get it. And it's because of that foundation in Florida, for sure.
That's why.
So
I tell the people all this all the time. Like, and I say that like when I went to LA, for example, I love LA. I love, the West Coast, the way it looks, the city.
Yeah.
But you immediately feel culturally like deprived. You feel, because coming from South Florida, you have all these, it's a Caribbean melting pot. You have all different types of sounds, and you go to these other places within the country and you realize like, man, your vision is so narrow. Like
Facts.
It doesn't, you know what I mean? And
that's the truth. And I know a lot of people going to be offended by that.
Right.
Maybe that's the soundbite for this clip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just a fact. You go to any other part of America and you realize they don't really have a global mix that's musically putting something into the music.
Right.
So you can go to New York, they've got a global mix of people, but not all of those people are adding to the music scene
Right.
that the kids are listening to.
Right.
LA, same thing. They've got a global city, but you don't really have too many Russians that are adding to the music scene.
Adding
that
their
all
culture
the kids
into-
are listening to. In South Florida, that's exactly what it was. Everybody from everywhere started to add to the youth culture. And the youth culture began to go, yo, I'm going to add this Dominican song, and I'm going to add this
Juke song and combine it.
and I'm going to combine it. And after a couple of years of this, I'm going to have this music. And that's exactly what Booty Shake was. That's exactly what Miami Bass was. Was this, this real gumbo, this real pot of everybody adding something in.
Different.
And then all of these kids who were not of the culture that was adding something in, they were from another culture taking that and everybody getting a plate of it.
Right.
Just like that.
And
It was
there's
like
so
going
many
down.
Miami examples of that. Like, for example, you take Laz, Esa Morena, a merengue sample, and it puts some Miami bass drums on it.
And
Boom.
it
You
makes
just
sense.
combine something and it's classic.
It
It'll
made
never-
sense. It's totally classic and it feels great. Shout out to DJ Laz, the God.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody that's putting the work in Miami. But yeah, it's a unique thing because I've been everywhere and I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I've never seen the people from, all of these other cultures that are in these other cities add to the youth music.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like how South Florida did.
And we, and I hate to be like the pessimist, like talking about today's music, but being a DJ and I DJ mostly hip hop, it feels monotonous. It feels like everyone's afraid to experiment. You have the people that are down to experiment and try something new and start a new wave, and then you have the Me Too's that just want to start.
Right.
Yeah,
and we don't have to talk about just my history. I'd love to get into topics like this.
Right.
That talk about a lot of the other stuff. But yeah, let's just go through my history real quick so we can get into some stuff that's gonna irk some people's soul, man.
Yeah.
Let's get.
So let's go to Major Lazer, man.
Yeah.
Major Lazer, Lean On. I'm working at Power 96 at the time, and this is at one point it held the YouTube record, correct? Like for the most viewed streams.
First one to get 1 billion.
First, wow.
Shout out to Drake, came after with God's Plan,
Okay.
but we the first.
Damn, bro. Okay, and now this is the first time. You guys are the first ones, I would say, that combined electro elements with island music. That was a combination. And it crossed over. You had people like Bieber. You had these people that are culturally narrow, like we said before. They started to buy into this sound, which was new. You guys cultivated that sound. It was like Caribbean electro almost,
Facts.
And you're emceeing. Are you in the studio during these things? Are you putting
Yes.
your input in these things? What?
Yes. And I'm telling you, man, that's why I think that me and Wes are the best. We're like partners in crime, bro. Like, when we start to bounce ideas off of each other, it's coming straight from experience. We are looking at our foundation of Florida experience, and then we are looking at our global experience through traveling. And we're trying to think of what it is that would make, what's going to make the entire world go, I get that.
Right.
I get that. And,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it takes two of us to really go through it and be like, man, this is what's going to work. Because he'll come up with an idea or I'll come up with an idea, but we'll cancel it if we don't think it'll work.
Right.
And then when we find out one, we're like, yeah, that's the one, man.
Right. Wow.
That's on. Yeah.
Now let's go to that. Major Lazer, you guys are setting records at this point, and this Cuba show, right? Like this is the first show. You guys are the first American pop act that did a show in Cuba when the diplomatic ties were like loosened or they were allowed to do some shit like this.
Diplomatico.
Yeah.
Big tune.
Right. And can you talk about that experience?
It was a great experience, man. Shout out to everybody in Cuba, man. Best experience of my life. That and Venezuela. We did a show in Barquisimeto in Venezuela. Also the most hate messages I've ever received.
From whom?
From Miami Cubans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing. Miami Venezuelans. When we did our show in Venezuela, Miami Venezuelans were sending plenty of hate messages.
Wow.
And that's when I started to really love what I do. Because I realized if you're not irking somebody, if you're not making somebody feel awkward and make them feel that mental pressure, then maybe you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
Don't play it so safe.
Yeah, you're not.
And so when I got all of these messages from people being like, man, I can't believe you're going to do a show in Cuba, man. Fuck you.
Yeah.
One, you start to realize, man, they never say this in your face.
Yeah.
It's so weird. We both in Miami.
Yeah, you're from Miami. You're amongst Cubans all the time.
You know where I DJ. If this really irks you, I'm there. You could pull up.
That's social media, man.
But it's very, very, very easy to say fuck you in a comment section.
Through a screen.
But then you also started to realize, like, man, it's almost like two different worlds, man. You get to Cuba and it's very black. And you don't realize that. Because in Miami, you don't really see them like that. And so you started to realize, like, yo, Cuba's like an African country, man. It's black.
Well, we could get, look, we're going to put, you talking about pushing the envelope. We could get really diplomatic with this, but Cuba was the last Caribbean country to abolish slavery,
yes,
right?
It was.
So
yeah, you don't want that pressure, but definitely you think about what it is that makes somebody say, I don't want you to go down there and entertain. That's when it starts to get weird.
Yeah.
Because regardless of whatever's happening in the political landscape, the people that are on the ground are just like you and I. They love music just like you and I. And going there and performing a song or performing a show for those people has no reflection on how you feel about the people that are in power. All it says is, I want to give people who have never had an experience like this, that experience, which means
you're not politically supporting anybody.
We spend tons of money on making sure that our show was as close to as caliber as it was in America. We didn't get him no little warehouse show. They had
A festival,
They
bro.
had a festival. We gave them the light show. We gave them the, everything that the government allowed us to use, we used it. And that to me is what's important, is bringing my music to people regardless of what's going on in the country.
Right.
Because I know my music is going to influence and inspire. Those kids that are in the audience listening to my music are going to be looking at me and going, man, you look just like me. And here you are saying something positive and showing me that it's possible. And that's all that mattered to me, was being able to be a reflection.
Do you have any crazy stories?
Nah.
Just in Cuba, like just something that was culturally shocking to
Nothing.
you, because you're one of the, you know what I mean? Like we didn't get to go to Cuba at this time. You're one of the first to be able to just go to Cuba freely like that.
Nothing, man. You want to hear something shocking? Tell me if this shocks you. No crime anywhere. Does that shock you? You know what I'm saying? The dude, they had a liaison for us, and he was like, yo, just remember, you can go outside at any hour of the night and walk any single street and no one is going to fuck with you. And I tested it. And I went outside at 3 a.m. and walked down the darkest corners that I could find.
Why is that, do you think?
I think that that's one of those things that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
Is that crime just doesn't exist.
Right.
In a very good way.
Right.
It just doesn't exist. You don't see a bunch of threats as you walk around and go, oh, no.
Right.
Nah, it doesn't happen. I believe that those people they just don't, their crime is just not in the culture like that. That doesn't mean that politically some kind of crimes aren't happening, you know what I'm saying? But you don't see anybody snatching a chain. It doesn't happen. And I think that that's because what would happen to that person that snatches the chain would be so crazy that they just don't do it.
The punishments are
But
severe over there.
I ended up walking past this lady's house, and she invited me over for food, and it was like 1, 2 in the morning. And she was like, yo, what are you doing walking down the street? And I was just like, in my best Spanish, I was like, yeah, it's just such a beautiful country. I don't want to be cooped up in the hotel. I just want to walk around. And she was like, yeah, well, she brought her son down, and her son was like listening to some reggaeton on his YouTube, on the phone, on YouTube. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I know these songs. We were talking about the music. And then she was like, are you hungry? And I was like, I don't even know y'all. Let's go.
Wow.
I actually had dinner with a family that I had no clue who they were. And it was early in the morning. And they were just up because she was working some shop or something. Like she had like a shop. She was selling some cloth or something like that. But at the end of the day, I was just like, yo, Cuba is probably the most hospitable place I've ever been. It's probably the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Really?
And then when I opened up my phone, I was like, oh, it's like two different sets of people. The people in Cuba were so nice and so welcoming, so amazing. And then the people that are in Miami are so angry and they're so upset that you are there.
And the angry people have nice things, have nicer things, have luxuries
you know what else you begin to find out is that a lot of those people actually had never been to Cuba too. It's their grandparents.
Projecting their fears and their
insecurity. Their grandparents were like, yo, this is how I feel. And so their parents took that on, and then they took that on. And I think that this next generation of Miami Cubans, I don't think they're not gonna take that stuff on like that. I think
they're open.
I think they're gonna be just open-minded to their own experiences and coming to their own conclusions. And I think that's how it should be. Salute to my grandmother, of course. My grandmother was a heavy Christian. And so naturally as a kid, I was a Christian. And at some point I began to experience life and enjoy life and got away from Christianity, never went back. And I understand that I had to go through my own life experiences to get to that point where I made my own decisions.
Right.
And I think that's what's going to happen. I think that you're going to have a group of kids that are just going to evaluate situations on their own. And they're going to hear what their grandparents were saying. Right. They're going to respect what their grandparents are saying. But they're not going to automatically form that same opinion. Right. Without having gone or experiencing whatever the topic is on their own.
Wow. So, Walshy, you've been around the world. Can you speak to another one of your? Can you speak to another one of your favorite cities? Oh
man, we're gonna talk about Africa then, man. Rwanda, Uganda, Malawi, South Africa, Cape Town, Johannesburg, Kenya, of course. Shout out to everybody in Nairobi, and Ghana.
Wow.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Diplo and you guys, you guys kind of make custom music for
the show,
Correct. In the area which is the dopest shit in the world,
best
bro.
thing in the world.
Like,
and
how
it's
you
the
about
most
to go?
fun creating it before the show.
So you do your research, and
I do my research. We get on the ground, we land, we immediately go to the ghetto.
So
we immediately go to the clubs, we immediately go find out what's going on, because radio usually isn't going to tell you what's going on. So you got to get out into the streets, and then you find the artists that are doing it, and then you get dub plates from these artists. Wow. And these dub plates go straight from voicing them to the show.
So can you give us a specific example? Maybe you fly into Uganda. Yeah. As soon as you get there, you're not there with your set like most DJs about to just do whatever the fuck you want to do. You're going to go there.
Let's be clear. We land in Uganda. 9 out of 10 DJs go, okay, this is dope. Where's the yacht? Let me go out on the ocean. We don't do that. We immediately go to the people. We take it to the streets. We go to the markets. We go to wherever the people are. And we begin to ask questions and find out what's going on the ground. And then
musically, right?
This song, musically. And also culturally. Because once you can find out that something big is happening, we incorporate it in the show. So for instance, if there's a local football team that just won something big, we go get the jersey.
Wow.
And once you step out on stage, the place goes crazy because they're like, how does he know that?
You see, that's the difference between being a culture vulture and being someone who's actually, like doing the research and taking the time to understand culture. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and I think even that, like when I look at the word culture vulture, I realize it's one of those things that just gets applied to things that it doesn't even make sense it got applied to, because in actuality, everything that we know is a part of this culture vulture system. And for anybody that would be calling someone else out on culture vulturing, they probably are using a medium to do it that's actually culture vulturing. Like in my opinion, Instagram is a culture vulture. Instagram is a platform that knows that there's high numbers in, let's say, Black death. Right? But they know that they're going to make so much money from promoting that on the algorithm.
Right.
So they'll promote Black death. They'll promote genocidal music.
Right.
And music that's just negative and killing, and you see it on the top.
Right.
And then you realize, like, okay, well, if they were culturally responsible, they would go, yo, you know what? We're not promoting that. So if there's a song where a Black guy talks about killing another Black person, we're just not going to promote that, because we see the negativity in that.
Right.
But instead they highlight it,
right.
And so you wonder, like, when we use words like culture vulture, where exactly, do we allow it to happen and where we don't? But, Diplo goes through that all the time. He always gets that label on.
See, to me, the way I distinguish it, there's a difference between stealing something and getting inspired by something. So if I'm going to do a show in Uganda and I just go on YouTube and find what's hot and just play it and sample it, and okay, I'm stealing. But if I'm landing, I'm landing there and I'm going to the hood and I'm doing research and I'm talking to the people. Now I'm not stealing it. Now I'm getting inspired and I'm doing the due diligence to really show that I care.
Yeah, about inspiration is a key part of what we do, but a lot of people do more than inspire. They just steal. There is that for sure, where somebody would be like, yo, what is that? And then someone would say, that's dancehall. And they go, okay, if that's dancehall, I like it. You know what? Why don't I call it tropical house and not call it dancehall, and it be the same thing, and I can own it now. And then when it comes out, everybody goes, oh, look, that's a dancehall song. And the person is going, no. I own this. It's called tropical. And then you start to realize that, okay, yeah, that's the guy right there who does the stealing.
Right.
That's the kind of guy that, you wanna make sure you let them know, like, yo, you can't just take something. House music. A lot of people don't believe that house music is a Black music. It's so weird that I can have this conversation with 9 out of 10 people, and they have labeled house music as white people
like
music.
European music.
Yeah, they think white people made and own it.
House music is so vague. There's so many different types of house music. There's so many different, like, what
but
is
the history of house music is the club house, the actual venue called Paradise Garage, the actual venue where house music started.
Educate me, because
what I'm saying. And so when you look at who are the people that are the originators of house music, it is black people. It is the Frankie Knuckles. It is the, the people that are in New York and in Chicago that are making actual house music that nobody wants to hear because they're doing rock music. You know what I'm saying? And so, of course, rock music also taken from black culture. But, just to stay on house music, it's not until this house music begins to get popular that then white people go, oh, I'm gonna start making some of this, and then it just goes off,
right?
And it goes so far off.
It gets whitewashed.
It goes so far off that it becomes something that people don't even remember the origin of it. And so I do encourage everybody to look up that venue, Paradise Garage, and Larry Levine and Frankie Knuckles. Look at those names. Those are the people that really started it. So and they get their credit on some level, but they deserve much more.
Dope. So I want to go back to the process, for example, of you, doing your research. You land in Uganda, you find out what sounds are popping, what music is popping. Yeah. And before you do the show, you guys go to the studio and you kind of combine the Major Lazer world with what you've just learned and researched from that market.
Right. Yeah. So we have a studio we go, bring with us. And we'll meet up in a hotel room and we'll sort it out. And we'll spend hours.
That's incredible, man.
But most important thing is getting those dub plates, man.
Right.
The dub plates are what really destroy the place.
It's like a cosign from the main.
The dub plates are, when you have the local guy singing a song just for that night, with your name in it and with the crowd's names in it, and the response is euphoric. There's nothing bigger than that. No matter how much Major Lazer music we play, nothing's going to beat us doing a version of the local song. Nothing. And that's the same all over the world, from India, to Brazil. It's the same exact thing. You see it in their face. They look up and they're like, yo, did he just say that different from the original song just for tonight?
Wow.
It's money well spent. A Major Lazer show is money well spent.
So could we, bro, you guys are global, you guys are international. So could we talk, so you talked about the African vibe. Have you done like India, bro? That's a whole nother world as well. Like you do the same process, figure out what sounds are going on over there. And damn, what's the most energy you've ever felt in a city?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Because it's always energy.
Yeah.
Every night. Amazing.
Wow.
Every single city, amazing.
I've talked about this before. It's a little deep, but I talk about, being able to perform on a stage with that type of high. It's a high that most people don't get to experience, right? And it's like an addiction, I would say, almost as well. Do you and which is why I would say a lot of performers, and artists, they end up getting hooked on things like drugs and things of that nature because it's almost like a godlike complex. You're on a stage with thousands and thousands of people. Right. Do you deal with any, Walshy, type of mental, like mental health and things of that nature?
Nah. And to me, those guys are weirdos, because...
Well, it could be something as simple as anxiety, you know what I mean? Or just like...
Let me say it like this, right? The reason why I say that, I can't relate.
Okay.
And I think anybody who has come from low income,
poverty,
ghetto, the hood, the garrison, anybody who's come from that and has an opportunity to make it in a world that's completely different from where they started. Usually, when I see those people in the EDM world, they're straight as an arrow because they're not fucking this up. What you end up with is the people who already had things, the people who are pretty much privileged and don't need to DJ, don't need to produce. They just wanted to. And they had enough money to maybe buy themselves in, or they had enough going on that they had support to get started, and whatever initial investments happened, they were on their way. They're usually the ones that get fucked up. And it's weird to me, and I can't relate.
Got you.
I can't relate. I sit back there, man, I'm backstage, and I'll see some little white boy getting fucked up. And I'm just like, man, his life must have been great because he's about to fuck up his opportunity.
Yeah. Because that high...
And go back to a place where, hey, I fucked up my opportunity. Not bad. I'm still okay. Right. For me, it's not like that. I can't fuck this up.
Got you.
I can't fuck this up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I look at every single thing that's around me and I go, yo, y'all are wilding. And I've been in rooms with some crazy shit happening.
Yeah. The music high is enough for you. Just creating the music gives you the goosebumps.
The opportunity.
feeling.
Look at me, man. I got no jewelry on.
Yeah.
My car outside. I don't have a fancy car. I don't have a nice big mansion. I don't have none of that.
You're comfortable in your own skin.
Because
You're not trying to.
And I got money. But I got to use my money wisely. I got to use my money to save lives. I got to use my money to help people who I know if I were to go and buy $100,000 car, I've wasted an opportunity to save somebody's life. And so I look at every single thing that I do, every record, every live performance, and I say, damn, I'm so glad I have this opportunity to take this and now inject it into something that's going to make somebody's life different. And so when I look at these other guys, to me, man, they suckers to me, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? And I just look at them and I shrug my shoulders, and I'm not trying to save none of them, because I see already they good. Life is good. They're clearly not surrounded by people who need them.
Right.
And so if they want to do a mountain of cocaine, a bunch of pills, and swallow razors
To escape their life, to escape what they're not comfortable in.
Yeah, get over whatever they talking about. I don't get it.
Got you.
And I'm not trying, to be honest with you, I can't be around them too long. You know what I'm saying? I see them, I dap them, I say, yo, man, you're a nice guy, man. And I hope that you understand that you got a bigger purpose in this world, but that's on you, man. Do you. And I just go on and keep doing me, man. So at the end of the day, I realized my purpose in this world and in this music industry has been to help. And so I do that to the maximum, the maximum degree. And I don't play with it. And I don't let nothing come around me that's going to mess it up.
So, Walshy, how do you feel about the current climate of music? Because I had this conversation with somebody the other day, as far as Caribbean music goes. Because I've always gravitated toward Caribbean music and the rhythms, because I feel like it balances out. It balances out. You need... For example, me being a Miami DJ growing up, Power 96, you always had that classic Power 96 crossover reggae. This city, if you grew up in Miami, Broward, West Palm Beach, you're familiar with Caribbean music, whether you're white, whether you're Asian, whatever it is, you've heard it on the radio. And I said this the other day. I said, right now, 2021 needs a crossover. We need a Sean Paul. These kids don't have a crossover reggae artist that can give the masses, you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because when I'm playing Caribbean music now, I'm still playing, the Wayne Wonders, and I'm still playing the Sean Pauls, and I'm still because it's crossover, because it's easily digestible. Right. That's what I feel like we're missing in today's crossover reggae, crossover Caribbean music. The last record I had, that felt that way was Toast. That you produced as well. Appreciate what I'm saying? That's still heavy in the rotation. I feel like, Fever is a crossover record you could still play. You have, certain Vibes Cartel records that cross over. But I feel like that's what I need in my set. I think the club world needs that. We need a Sean Paul. These kids need a new Sean Paul. I mean,
if not Sean Paul, they definitely want, they need some music that's going to be able to go international. But I will say this much. Something about this conversation is a little white, so we want to make sure that we keep the mind, we keep it in full scope.
And I want to say something before we get into that. I come from radio, so be clear. If I need to play to a straight Caribbean crowd, I could get deep in my reggae crates. But my style has to be, I don't want to say white, I want to say crossover. It has to be digestible for an Asian, for a New Yorker, for someone who comes from the West Coast, because my parties are usually diverse parties. Right. So I just wanted to put that out there before we get into that.
So what I want to say is, when we start to talk about stuff like this, I always want to remind somebody that that's not something I want to inject into the responsibility of the dancehall artists. I don't want them to think about you when they're making a record. Right. I just want them to make great records. Right. And it'll happen. Okay. So as much as we both agree we want more of it, We want to see more successes. We want to see more records that when we get it, we can take it international and global. And yeah, we do get a lot of records that when we hear it, we go, man, this one's not going to be the one I can really push. And, you know, I want to push this music or I want to push this genre, but I can't really push these records. It'll happen. I just want people that are of the genre to maintain that authenticity and to keep it fun and real for whatever it is that's happening around them. Because every single record that we just mentioned, those all happened for the audience that they're making music for. So it didn't happen for
a suit to say we need a radio record. That's what I wanted to ask you about. Okay, so do you think there's something about like, so back then organically they were organically making crossover music,
right?
Melody,
correct.
Happy, feel good,
correct.
You know, it seems like with any music, but when the music gets too dark and grimy, it seems like it's harder to play in a crossover environment.
Very
right.
true. Right.
Is that the space that Caribbean music is in right now, would you say?
I wouldn't try to box it into anything.
Okay.
It's just that's what I think are the bigger hits right now.
Got you.
You know? But again, it's gonna happen. It's going to happen naturally. Just keep your eye and your ears down to the genre, and you know, and to the streets. And trust me, you'll hear one record and you go, okay, that one I can roll with.
Okay,
you know. So, yeah, no frets, no worries, man. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna happen.
Walshy, can you speak to like the music that you're making right now, the space you're in with the whole Caribbean? Like, what are you wanting to push? What are you wanting to change within that world? Like, what do you want to see more of? What?
Right. Yeah. So for me personally, everybody that has been following me musically solo has probably seen that I've done a lot of the Africa meets Caribbean merger. I've done a lot of African and Caribbean artists on the same track. I've been doing that for like 4 years now. So for me, that's been the main thing I've been pushing in my music is Africa and the African diaspora collaborating and using the sounds from both sides of the world and blending them and then putting that out. And I did an album about 2 years ago called A Bang, and I'm working on the next album now. So for me, that's my thing, is taking Africa and the African diaspora and making them collaborate together and making some dope stuff.
Right. And see, Afrobeat is something, you know, relatively new that was able to cross over. And as I said, you know, we could say it's white, but I'm just speaking for the average person, whether you're Asian, whether you're Latino, whether that just is not Caribbean, who doesn't know the specifics and the culture, you know, like that. What is the difference between, you know, Afro beats and, you know, let's say dancehall, because some of them have similar vibes, and a lot of people the average person would mistake the two sometimes.
Right. And I think that this is an honest question. So for everybody out there who might get annoyed by that question and be like, how can you mix like they're clearly two different things?
Right.
You know, I want them to just kind of think outside of themselves and think of the person, you know, the little white girl in Idaho,
right,
who's clueless. So to me, the answer would be there is a different drum pattern. And there is a different in the lingua. You can hear sonically that one is of Africa and then the other one is dancehall from the Caribbean. But I will say Africa has literally been a part of every single genre of music ever.
That's a fact.
And so therefore it's in everything. And then I would say dancehall has just had such a huge global impact. Reggae too. It's been such a big, impactful music that it actually would go now back to Africa, where it came from, and begin to influence artists in Africa. So if you listen to a Burna Boy, or you listen to a Stone Boy, or you listen to a Shatta Wale, you know, you'll hear a lot of the dancehall influences in what they do, mixed with what they're now doing in their current Afrobeat music. And then they put that out, and you can hear the fusion. So, you know, it's gone, you know, it's come full circle, and it's dope. It's dope. And, you know, yes, you will hear a lot of similarities between the two, because Afro beat is what birthed, you know, reggae, and birthed dancehall, and birthed soca, and birthed salsa, and birthed dembo, and birthed compa. And so it's only natural that when those guys begin to hear the the seeds, you know, the children,
percussion and the certain familiar
of
sound.
What originally from them come back home, that they take some of that and then put it back into the music. You know what I'm saying? So
Dope.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. Everyone out there should definitely go check it out. Go check out playlists on Spotify or whatever you listen to, and see what's the new music and the new tunes, and get involved.
Dope. So back to my original question. What is something that you like to see more of? What are you pushing? Where's your mind at in the space?
Yeah,
right now?
I'm just pushing that collaboration. That's my
Gotcha.
whole thing. It's pushing the collaboration, getting people from different spaces that have never had the even the thought to work together.
Dope.
That's my thing. Yeah, that's what I push.
Got you. You have any records? Are you and Diplo still working on some
Yeah,
stuff
we
together?
just did Diplomatico, which came out a couple weeks ago. Major Lazer song. We got another one coming out with Moonchild, and we have a Major Lazer Reloaded album, which is going to be some added songs to the album that we dropped at the top of the year. And we'll probably drop another album after that, and hopefully touring will come back, and we're ready to go.
Dope.
Yeah, man. Tune after tune, man. Tune after tune.
How many songs do you make a day? Are you on?
Oh man, maybe not a day, but when we get into a zone, or I get into a zone, I can make like 3-4 a day. Yeah,
3-4 a day.
Yeah, but you know, I do try to make at least one a day. I try to do something musically a day. For sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like doing push-ups. Like I
Right.
try to do something musically.
I have a conversation with producers as well, because sometimes I feel like, you know, music today feels like fast food. Sometimes it feels like when people say they go into a studio and they do 5 songs a night, that's wild to someone like me who takes maybe I take too long to make music. I like to garnish my music like it's Prime 112. Like I make sure, you know what I mean? So maybe I just take too long to make
But
music.
I get what they're saying. So in that sense, you know, to me, you take 5 songs a day, but you don't put 5 songs out.
Right.
You know, so you take 5 songs a day, and then you take 25 songs at the end of the week, and you grab one, and then you say, you know what, this is the one I want to really work on. So you begin to garnish that one.
Got you.
And then the other 24, the world just never hears.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So making a lot of music doesn't mean putting out a lot of music. I love making a lot of music, but I definitely don't put out anything until I hear that it has that potential, that thing.
Right.
And then you begin to work on that one record for months.
Exactly.
Years sometimes.
Oh, can you speak more to your process on just making music, and maybe you and
my
Diplo, how
process
you got?
is random, boy.
Yeah.
We all over the place, you know, but we do what I think most producers do, which is make something, and then we add, and then we go, okay, now we added too much. You take away, and you come back almost to where you began, and then you put it out.
But I would imagine what separates you from other producers is you guys are very experimental. I would imagine you guys are trying things out that you don't even know if this shit's gonna work. Like
you never know.
But that's the type of shit that makes history. You know what I'm saying? You're not just going in there making trap beats all day like some of these producers can do. You know.
But I definitely love experimenting with music. I think that's the best thing in the world, man, is when you hear something fire and inspirational, and you say, you know, I'm going to start to make music off of this inspiration, and where it goes, who knows? But yeah, it's my favorite experience.
We had a conversation in the car. You were putting me onto some new Haitian music that's popping right now.
Rabo's just popping. I love it.
See, so that's like the new wave. Can you speak on that? You said you had a DJ play at your party. That was
DJ Bullet. Yeah, man. So it's just a beautiful thing, man, to see that the Haitian music and the Haitian community are beginning to get some really strong records out that I think the crossover potential is there. And that in itself is huge. Just think of a Haitian song playing on Power 96. Like,
incredible.
That'd be huge.
Incredible.
As much as like you hear a Colombian song or Puerto Rican song playing on Power 96. Or I mean, we don't need to keep saying that station. Like,
yeah.
You know,
I'm bleeping them out. You're not getting no free promo from me, bro.
Yeah. On the radio, you know, we do have to remember that there was a time when none of that played on the radio. So if you hear a Puerto Rican song played on the radio now, just remember there was a time when that did not happen.
Exactly.
And so I kind of feel like Haiti's up next. Okay. And so it's going to be undeniable that, you know, the music is just that good. It's super good. It's really good. And so it's going to be something that you're going to have to really, really, really be in some war mentally with Haiti to not promote it. You're going to have to be like, man, you have to really hate Haitians to not promote it.
I mean,
it's good.
It's a fabric of this city. There's no way you could ignore Haitians if you live in Miami, if you live in South Florida. You know what I'm saying? It's impossible. Are you... And what's dope about you guys is that you seem to work with new artists. If they're talented, it doesn't matter if they're not known.
I actually prefer working with unknown artists.
Really? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Just because you get a lot more out of them. They're usually way more hungry. They haven't done much.
They're not jaded by the industry.
Not jaded by the industry. 9 out of 10 of them also quickly become very attitudey and ego, and they haven't really done much. And you realize like that's their early demise.
Right.
Is that they don't understand how to maintain being themselves with new attention coming to them. And so they begin to lose contact with a lot of the things that made them so great. And then after the first couple of records, you realize they no longer have the ability to make good records because now they've isolated themselves.
Right.
They've begun to burn bridges and become somebody that people don't even
one of these industry, like
around.
every other industry fucking. There was a young lady, I don't remember her name, but I discovered her on a Diplo record. He put out a house record, and she was from Atlanta, I believe, and she had an amazing voice. It was the I don't remember the record. But yeah, man, and it's great to hear new artists on big time producers or artists, you know what I mean? Like giving opportunities out, which is dope to me, you know? I mean, shit, could you speak on your party, Walshy? Because that's something big in the city that's, gotten popular, rum and bass. You do it once a month, right?
Once a month, man.
Once a month at Koyo.
At Koyo.
And, that party has been going on for years, and it's definitely made a staple in the city. The venue's at Koyo. It's a smaller venue, but the sound system is incredible, so it gives it like a intimate vibe. You hear the music perfectly. You bring in guest DJs, and Can you speak to maybe one of those legendary nights? Maybe when someone popped in.
Too many of those, man. Big up to every artist that's passed through. I've had unbelievable artists come through and perform and show love, man. And shout out to the global set of artists, man. Big up to Ludmilla when she came through from Brazil. Big up to Naldo from Brazil when he came through. Big up to Flow Rider when he came through. Oh, man, I'm trying to just trying to think now. Like so many people have come through and just got on the mic and just been like, man, I'm gonna fuck this place up just cause.
So if you're,
it's the best thing. It's the best thing that ever happened to me, man. So shout out to everybody that goes Koyo Taco Tuesday nights.
That's like your baby right there, bro.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So if you're out of town and you want to really feel what Miami sounds like and really get something that you're probably not used to, go to Rum and Bass. Look for that flyer. It's at Koyo, and you will definitely be impressed and educated as well. Yeah. Because for me, when I DJ and when I like to distribute music to people, I like to do two things and keep a balance between these two things. I like to entertain and educate.
Yeah.
So, I want to give you shit you're familiar with and let you have fun and sing along, but I also want to educate you with some new shit. Like, and
for sure. That's what Tuesday is. We stay playing new music. We play a lot of local music. A lot of the songs that everybody grew up on, but a lot of the songs that people are just releasing. We usually do a lot of that. A lot of local music. A lot of new local music there, yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do, especially at my party at Brick, is when I have tourists there to play the Miami Juke and to play shit to where they're like looking around and shit, but they see, because it's half locals, they see the locals like vibing. They're like, I've never heard this song in my life.
And that's what it should be.
I had DJ Enough from Hot 97. I booked him to DJ at Brick with me.
Shout out to Enough.
And shout out to Enough. And I went into my juke set and people are going crazy, dancing. I'm playing I'm So High, Ball Greasy, Sean, Wiggin. I'm playing all these shit. And he's like, bro, I've never heard this in my life. And that gives me a different type of high.
That, man. That's what it should be, man. Every city should have its own identity. And the bad thing is that what you're talking about is 2008.
Exactly.
That's the sad part.
Exactly.
Something happened where after 2008,
the internet killed regionalism.
The music never grew. It stopped. And so when we play a Miami set, it's a 2008 set. There's not, we could probably play, Act Like You Got on Some Skates and like one or two new songs, but that moment in 2008, Miami was on top. And they had tons of juke music that was coming out.
But it never, why does that never break out, Walshy? Why
what it is like
people are afraid of tempo, I feel like sometimes.
No, I think you just said it. I think that the internet began to blow up, Instagram began to blow up, Snapchat began to blow up, and people just began to copy what they saw was popular and popping. And so that includes the artists that were making this music. I think a lot of them were just like, oh, no, I need to go rap on a 75 BPM song then, or I need to go and do something else. And so I think that just, it is what happened. And as well as the audience, I think the audience was like, oh man, this is what is, taking over my timeline. So I'd rather hear that than hear what I'm hearing locally.
Right.
And it all just switched, man. And it's like somebody just shut the door and that was it.
And what I think as well is what I would say when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to black culture, I feel like we're the only market, Miami, that's not afraid of tempo. That's not afraid. You go to New York, LA, you start to play something that's over 110 BPMs, people start to get a little like, wait, double time it down. I want to hear something slower. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of that happening in a lot of the cities. The same conversation is happening in tons of cities. You know, like bounce music is one of my favorite musics in the world. And whenever I go to New Orleans, it's still strong. It's still predominant. It doesn't blow up. It doesn't blow up unless Drake does. What's the song
what was that
he took? The one where he took Magnolia Shorty. Yeah, but he went to Miami High School, right? Yeah, so he took New Orleans Magnolia Shorty. Rest in peace, Magnolia Shorty. And he sampled her. You're the only one I love, and sampled the beat as well. And if you're from New Orleans, you're probably in total disbelief that this super local song is now a global smash hit. And that's usually when it happens. I want to say the closest thing to the last like big, I gotta get to Drake again, is the one with him and Khalid.
Right. It's like a 150 BPM.
Yeah, it's super fast. And
I remember people were fighting because people in Jersey like, this is some Jersey shit. Nah, this is some Miami shit. People were going back and forth.
It became a Jersey versus Miami thing. Shout out to everybody from Jersey because they are doing what we don't do. And they're loud and they're defending it. And they're going, yo, Jersey. This is Jersey music. Same thing with Baltimore club music. Like those guys are loud. And they're going, yo, y'all are taking Baltimore club music. And we in Miami, shout out to Trail 5, shout out to Snappy Jit, shout out to Chipman and everyone that makes local Miami music. But we don't have an audience of people that are defending it and are getting online and being like, yo, this is Miami Juk. This is Miami shit. We kind of only maybe get a little loud when somebody from Jersey is like, yo, y'all, that's Jersey music. But at the end of the day, we need that. We need the local people. If you're from South Florida, we need you to call up the radio stations. We need you to get angry at the DJs and be like, yo, man, play some Miami shit. But
I get mad at the artists as well because the artists are wanting to be Me Too's. They want to sound like Atlanta music. I tell artists all the time, if you make an up-tempo record, you have an 80% chance more of me playing it than you making a regular 70 BPM record. Give me some Miami shit. Give me something different. Experiment.
Let's really talk about let's really talk about it, man. I get music all the time. You probably get music all the time. When I get these songs, bro, and as soon as I hear that drill start at the beginning, I almost turn it off every time.
Yeah.
And I go, Miami boy, Miami young boy. If you're trying to do some drill music and sound like a New Yorker and sound like a Chicago rapper, you already lost.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just weak.
Right.
That's just weak man shit.
Right.
Like I hear the music, like there's tons of there's tons of Miami dudes that'll send me records and it'll sound just like Fabio Foreign. It'll sound just like Pop Smoke. It'll sound just like
Lil Baby in Atlanta or something on the West Coast.
And then like they'll send me a video and it'll be them doing like this in the video.
Wow.
Yo, as soon as I see you doing that in the video, you kind of like a fuck nigga to me.
Yeah.
You kind of like a little fuck boy to me because
you're a sheep. You just follow
saw
trends.
something and you like, that's the trend. I'm gonna jump on it, and then you in the video, you're over 25 years old. You're a grown man, and you in the video, because you went to New York for a couple of weeks, and your cousin became a Crip, and now you back in Miami trying to be a Crip.
Yo, that's a culture vulture, right?
And it's you
could. That's a culture vulture. You're within the hip hop culture, but you went to another city and stole their culture, bro.
Exactly, and you look stupid in Miami. You look stupid.
Yeah,
you can't really be in Miami on that and be from Miami. You want to be from somewhere else.
Right.
You want to be somewhere else, but you living at your mama house still, and you in the crib talking about the guns you got and the bitches you got, and your mom is cooking dinner in the room next door, and you whack to me, and that's just fuckboy shit. And so, when I don't see a lot of these guys standing on their own and creating something that's totally original and totally native to the city, I immediately locked them off, man. I don't want to hear shit from them again.
Exactly.
And so, you know, I've been working like we should talk about that. Some of the local people I've been working with, man.
And it's the producers as well. The artists, it's y'all, but the producers, y'all are afraid to take chances as well. You guys need to stop trying to sound like all these other producers as well. It's not just the artists.
Trust me, man. And I tell you no lie, my inbox be full of this bullshit, man. And it'll be somebody, and they be like, yo, I'm from Kendall. And you like, damn, bro. Why are you doing this? Like, yo, does your mama know you do this, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know she probably hears it because she's in the room next door. And does your mama be like, yo, what are you talking about? What ops do you have?
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, I pull up on the block. I spin the block.
Yeah, bro.
And I pop the ops. And your mom opens the door and is like, excuse me?
Bro, you live next to Chipotle, bro.
Yo.
Like, you have no ops. You live next to Pollo Tropical, bro.
Yo, you got no ops. You can wear your flag everywhere because no one cares. That's the crazy part, right?
Yeah.
It's like a gang starter kit sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, okay, my man, you clearly went on Amazon and got every Crip thing you could find, and now you're in your music video in Kendall and you're wearing it all, and no one cares. There's no op. There's nobody that runs down on you and is like,
you're safe, bro.
What set do you claim? You are as safe as documents in a briefcase, my man. You're good. So you're super corny right now.
Yeah.
And I know this message is going to hit home to a lot of people. And I know a lot of guys are going to be looking at their Crip starter kit. And they going to be looking at themselves.
Their designer belt. They got the designer belt. They just saved up for with their stimmy.
They're going to be looking at their life and they're going to be like, damn, I'm 27. And this is what I do. He's talking about me. Yeah. And if you got a problem with it, like I said before, I'm here. You guys know where I'm at every Tuesday. It's not nothing. But I do think that you're going to end up hearing what I'm saying, and more than get mad at me for saying it, change up what you're doing. I want to see you win, young boy.
Be original.
Come on, Jit. I want to see you win.
And be clear, a lot of the shit you experiment with is not going to work, and that's okay. But guess what? The one or two that do work, you're going to be set for life.
Set for life. You be a trendsetter. You'll be somebody that can start a whole new wave.
And people will follow you.
But as soon as you start doing this drill dance, you start to do all this stuff, and you realize, like, man, it's been done a million times already, and you're coming out with the new song and thinking that somehow, somewhere, somebody's going to be like, oh, nah, you do it awesome. You lost already. Yeah. You've already lost. You made it way more difficult to win. And I want to see you win, little boy.
Yeah.
I want to see you
And that pisses me off about this city, since we're talking our shit right now. Like, you don't see New Yorkers trying to do juke and try to sound like they're New Yorkers. Yeah. So stop Miami.
But they are kind of like jacking like, Chicago.
You're right.
And they are kind of jacking UK a little bit.
Exactly.
But they have their own conversation to be, and they can talk about it. I'm talking about Miami.
Gotcha.
I want to see the Miami boys win. And the only way to win is to be creative and be original. You copy, you start jacking other people's styles, you're not going to win. That's that.
Walshy, do you think Miami bass can make like a 2021 comeback? I've always said like, if we bring Miami bass with like some electro elements, but we need these artists to channel their, not be like Uncle Luke, but channel that type of vocal to give us that type of hype.
I'm working on it right now, man.
Okay, good.
You know it.
Good.
It's coming.
Good, we need that.
Yo, trust me, Miami, that shit's in my soul, man.
Give us a 2021 Pac Jam, Walshy.
And I wish I could put one of these young rapper boys on it, and be like, man, rap on it. But I realize they hate Miami.
They don't know how to rap on a 140, bro. They couldn't even know where to begin. No.
Also, they hate Miami, bro. They want to be from somewhere else so bad. Like I said before, I see them. And they send me their video, or they send me the song, or somebody send me a link to a song, or accidentally the algorithm come up and I see they bullshit ass music. And I go, why these dudes just don't go move and go live on their cousin couch in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Why don't you just go somewhere else? You don't want to be here. Your look, your sound, everything is jacking. You jacking from a whole other city. You don't have a Miami accent. You don't have a Miami dress code. You don't have a Miami look. You doing your best to not be Miami. Just go live somewhere else, man. And hopefully they'll fuck with you, even though I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody makes a song and it's got a 120 BPM, 130 BPM, 140 BPM, and sorry again for everybody out there that doesn't understand.
Fast music, aka.
But faster music. It's just a shame that they can't rap on it.
Yeah.
Trick Daddy has made some of my favorite hip hop songs in the world. Put Trick in the booth on a 140 BPM. He'll fuck that shit up.
Put him on a 160 scarred. Like, what are we talking about?
That shit up. That to me is exactly the essence of Miami. Somebody that's gonna make it and make it original and make it feel good for the home team, and then the world gonna love it. And that's the problem. I can make a beat for anybody right now, but only a handful of them I can actually put on it, because only a handful of them love the city so much that they'll be like, let's do it.
Listen, artists out there, if you make a record that's over 130 beats per minute, I'll invite you to the club. I'll give you a bottle.
Yes.
I'll play the record.
I
don't know what Walshy. I'll hook you up with Walshy. You know what I mean? Like, just give us something. That's all you have to do. Rap over something over 130. That's all the only requirement.
Right. And it ain't got to be a career. Just give us one of those, man.
Yeah.
Give us something that's a little bit sped up, a little bit fast. That's going to be so out the box from whatever the world is doing, because the world is not doing that. The world is doing that super slow stuff and
sleepy.
The same sleepy cadence. The same half singing.
It's the drugs too. We need rappers to get back on cocaine, Walshy. All y'all need to, you guys need to stop sipping lean, stop taking these pills.
Get back on boom.
Yeah. we need the uppers to make a comeback, please.
Hey, that's a joke, guys.
Yeah.
We definitely want to see the music come back though. And so if this conversation sparks it in you, man, hit me up on the DM. I ain't even playing.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody that makes music however they want to make it though. I'm not trying to you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kill your creativity. If what you thinking is dope, keep doing it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Shit. Let's talk about some other shit, Walshy. Are there any other outside of music, any other investments, any other things you're getting into? We talked briefly about stocks on the way over here.
Stocks.
We talked about the climate of like movie theaters and shit.
Yeah,
like what
we talked about that.
Betting on AMC.
Let me tell you something, man. That was a good conversation. What I wanted to say to everybody, what we were talking about was AMC movie theaters are beginning to open up again soon. He's got stock in AMC, so I hope he wins big. But the conversation spurred because my little group chat, they were a little bit scared, and they were saying, damn, this is going to blow COVID back up if movie theaters come back. And to me, that's ignorant. And the reason why I say that is because a movie theater is very similar to like a church.
I'm listening. I'm not with you.
The seating.
Oh, okay.
The arena.
Okay.
Stage.
Got you.
You go to most churches, it's pretty much the same thing. Nobody is scared of a church.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a fact.
So it's weird. It's weird to me that somebody would be like, oh man, a movie theater, that means the cases are going to go up. But they don't think that way about a church. And I've come to the conclusion, the reason why that is because people only scrutinize and are upset about places that they weren't going to go anyways. These guys were not going to go to the movie theater.
Right.
So it's easy for them to scrutinize
something that doesn't affect their life.
It doesn't affect them. They can stand on the outside of it and go and wag their finger and go, you guys are so dumb. You didn't think. And now you're going to cause lots of death.
Right.
But they go to church.
Right.
And they sit in the same kind of arena, the same exact thing where everyone is
group of people
right next to each other with their masks on, enjoying the service. But for some reason in their mind, that's not bad. They don't judge that. They don't criminalize that because they're doing it.
Right.
And that's my ultimate human highlight that I've gotten out of COVID, is that people get upset about things they weren't going to do. They
pick and choose what they want to get upset about, even though it's the same shit.
Right. So if somebody's mad at a sports game happening with a crowd, they're mad because they weren't going to go to that sports game anyways.
Right.
The people that are going to that sports game are not mad at it. And they don't care what the person that is mad says. And so, same thing. The person that goes to the sports game might not go to
a concert,
a grocery store. They might be like, I'm ordering my groceries. And they might be like, y'all are crazy for going into that grocery store. It's crazy in there. Everybody touching everything and you bringing it home. And I'm never doing that. And it's because they're not doing it that they scrutinize it. If they were, they wouldn't care. And that's just the way it plays out. People are just mad at the people doing things that they weren't going to do.
And what's
anyways.
even worse is the people, these old white people in government and politics making these rules. They're not doing none of this shit. So they don't care about shutting it all down, because that's
why,
not part of any
that's
of it.
why it affects like you and I life, right? They don't care about shutting down a bar or shutting down a club, because they weren't going there no ways. So when the agenda comes up and they go, the people are they need something to make them kind of calm down a little bit, they go, well, shut down the clubs and the bars.
Right.
Now, mind you, the clubs and the bars probably no different than anything else happening in the day. Any gathering, any market, any
Restaurant.
sports, any restaurant in the day, no different. It's just at night. And the people who don't go out at night are the ones that they're going to appease.
Exactly.
And those are the people that are going to go, okay, my city's doing something. Yes, well, the cases are going to go down now because the nightlight got shut off. But then you go on the beach is packed with people in the sand, no masks, just lined up next to each other. If you go to like the ones where they have the seats are all right next to each other. The lounge chairs, you know, the beach chairs, they're all right next to each other. There's no separation and there's absolutely no mask on the beach because nobody wants a mask tag.
Yeah.
So, you know, the fact that nobody is looking at the things and saying, okay, everything across the board that we see potential in, we're going to shut down, makes me then say they only shut down the things that they weren't doing anyways. It doesn't affect them at all. They're going to bed at 9 o'clock. They don't care what happens at 10 o'clock. And so therefore they can shut that down. But they can't shut down the things that do affect them and affect the people around them, even though those things could be worse.
Right. That's why like this dude, you know, like this dude Fauci, like, you know, he's an old guy, but he's a scientist. So I understand the line of work you're in. But what is your lifestyle like?
Yeah.
You go back and forth to your office every day. You're probably not amongst events and amongst large groups of people anyway. So for you to criticize that is crazy to me. You know what I mean? It took me a minute to really grasp that as well. I didn't get that right away. At first, it's like I'm listening to everything this guy says, but as time went on, I was like, you know what? Wait, what is your life like? What do you
it's a total, like, you know, I look at these websites, the Instagrams, the Miami ones, and you realize like they'll show like kids twerking on a car, right? And the comments will be vicious. The comments will be vicious, man. The comments will be like, oh, I wish she fell out the car and died. I wish she died. And you start to realize like, yo, it's crazy to think that this person that's commenting is coming from a place where they themselves are acting like they've never been 18 years old.
Yeah.
They've never done anything crazy. They never did something that was just fun and in the moment. Never. No, of course not. And now they wish death on somebody else that's doing it.
People don't have empathy, bro.
It's the worst part of this shit, man. When you watch it, you go to these websites and they're like, you know, and the caption is usually saying something that's very egging, very, very much egging people on to be very mean. Like, you know, the caption will be something like, "Welp," you know what I'm saying? Something simple like that, that just like, here's another idiot.
Right.
And then you're like, man, this is not new, bro. If you're from South Florida, this has been happening since the 80s. Spring break has been happening since the 80s, guys. There's nothing
You
new
just
here.
didn't have social media back then.
You just
so
didn't have social media then. And also, I'm going to say this. You didn't have social media then, so we didn't see you doing it.
Exactly.
Because you used to do it.
And you were on harder drugs, bro.
You was
were
on
some
harder
other
drugs,
shit.
and you was doing way more, and there was no cameras. There was maybe somebody had a camcorder and a VHS.
You got away with it. You got
away with it. So now you can stand online and talk about somebody else doing it. The only reason why you mad is because you're not them. They're doing them. You had your moment where you did you. And now we can go past that moment without pulling up a videotape and being like, yo, my man, you kind of loud screaming on these kids when this is you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the worst part about this internet shit, man, is that no one can be held accountable for what they say. That's why I take myself away, man. I don't even fuck with it. You know, I promote my music. I promote positive messages. I do, you know, engaging on that level. Everything else, I'm out. I don't follow it. I don't fuck with it.
Yeah. How do you feel about the current climate of South Beach? Because, you know, you grew up in Miami and you've seen South Beach go through all its different phases and evolutions.
This is a good question, man, because it's a really hot topic. I hope we get a good soundbite out of this one, man. First of all, I want to say these same pages, a lot of the people in the comments, their memory's really bad. If you from Miami, this is the rhetoric that I get from most of these sites right now. These sites are saying things like "Make Miami Beach great again," "Make South Beach great again." They're very like, man,
conservative.
They're very like, how do we get South Beach to be great again? You remember when South Beach was awesome? And I challenge them, and I say, when? Tell me when. Remind me when. Give me the year when. Tell me the exact year.
Well, before the 80s, it was just old people sitting on a beach. That's all it was. So you don't have a lot of you have the 80s, the 90s, and
so let's say everything before the 80s, Mafia run. Is that great? That's when it's great? When illegal crime organizations run Miami, that's when it was great. Okay. Oh, let's talk about the 80s. The 80s was very mafia, very cocaine, very wild.
Everything was drug money.
It was drugs money everywhere. And for anybody out there that does not remember, again, I say to you, Miami and South Beach of now is not what it was in the 80s and 90s. In the 80s, South Beach was hood. Everything from 5th to 1st was ghetto. That was the projects. Just because you see it now and its niceness doesn't mean you can't look up online what it was before they knocked it down.
Right.
It was the projects. I have to tell people in these chats all the time, I say, yo, were y'all not alive when South Beach Posse was running South Beach? Wilo was a big gang. Evil Nation was a big gang. These were gangs that ran South Beach through the 80s and the early 90s. So for anybody to say, man, South Beach, how do we make it great again? I say, when? Because I remember when prostitution was rampant. Right now, prostitution is, you barely see it.
Right.
You barely see it. You have to really be looking for it now to see a corner with 3 girls on it.
Yeah.
Prostitution back then, it was chaos. Every corner, every street, every girl, every car was getting pulled over. Everybody was down there doing prostitution. That's the 80s and the 90s, early 90s. Crack cocaine, powder cocaine. All of that in the 80s and 90s, every single bus stop in Miami had 4 or 5 people selling these drugs. You could not go nowhere on South Beach and not have somebody run up on your car with some Slimmies and be like, yo, my man, you trying to put some of this powder in your tobacco? You trying to put some powder in your weed? You trying to get high? You trying to get fucked up? What you want? That's the 80s and 90s. When was it great?
Yeah.
So then I look back at the 90s to the early 2000s. Twerking.
That's when the clubs kind of started popping. Like the night, South Beach started to get a nightlife.
Which
was 18 and up, by the way.
Which was 18 and up until they banned 18, 19, and 20-year-olds and made it 21 and up. I was there for that. While it was 18 to 21, it was madness. You want to talk about fights? Come on, man, get the fuck out of here. Fights just started happening. You want to talk about arrests? You can look it up. You can look up the numbers of arrests that happened at those times and see we're not far off now.
Right.
You want to talk about rape? Come on, man. This shit was crazy back then. All those dark alleys, all those girls drunk, high.
And, no social media to capture
and nobody to catch
shit.
It. Nobody to put a flashlight. Nobody had a light on their phone to be like, yo, what the fuck is that? No, you saw somebody fucking in the alley and you kept walking.
Damn.
You never said, yo, is that girl even alive? So that dude, you didn't do that. You walked away. You went, man, I don't know what's going on over there. I'm gonna get the fuck away.
So Walshy, the mayor had a big press conference and he's talking about, trying to make, the curfew in South Beach, even after this COVID shit. He wants everything to close at 2 a.m. on South Beach. He wants to get rid of the nightlife. He wants to make it a Art Deco type vibe. I mean, if you're the mayor, Walshy, what do you think? So do you think there is a problem? Do you think a change needs to be made? Like how do you see South Beach for the future?
I do consider myself the mayor. I consider myself the prime minister. Actually.
Talk your shit. You're the prime minister of South Beach.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. And I do believe I've earned some status. I actually am not mad at a curfew, and the reason why is because I realize that a lot of things happen when that last drink is had. There's something about that 2 to 3 o'clock. It gets real sloppy.
Got you.
And I'm not saying that as a person that didn't enjoy getting home at 6 a.m. I enjoyed that. I used to love that. If that's what it is, we get back to it, I'll enjoy it again. I have no problem with staying out and partying until 4 or 5 in the morning. No problem. But I do know after DJing easily 100,000 parties, there's something like Granny used to say almost, nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah.
You realize
update it to 2 a.m.
You realize like, man, she wasn't wrong, That last drink. Tell you what, man, ask yourself, how many friends have you lost in drunk driving?
A couple.
I've lost a few.
Yeah.
How many people do you know have gotten into a fight, gotten into some kind of physical altercation and gotten hurt? I know quite a few. And I'm gonna tell you, man, when the curfew is earlier, it's a lot harder. to get into that kind of a situation.
Exactly, I agree with you.
You have that last drink, that one drink too many.
There used to be a curfew watching on South Beach.
They used to be, man. When the
Was it
gangs
2
were-
a.m.?
Well, I don't remember what it was because it was a long time ago. But when the gangs were crazy on the beach, they did an age limit and a curfew.
Gotcha.
The first thing they did was the age limit. If you were under 21, you got arrested for being on the beach. And I remember that because I was under 21 at the time. But I used to sell my tapes. And so they wouldn't fuck with me because I wasn't going to the club. I wasn't doing nothing. I was selling tapes. So I walk around with a boombox and a box of tapes. And I was just like hustling. So they didn't really fuck with me. But I remember that. I remember it like yesterday. And then, yeah, they did have a curfew, a time curfew. I don't remember what it was because I wasn't going into the clubs. I was just selling tapes.
Got you.
But yeah, all of that did happen, man. But I have no problem with curfews. I have no problem with it, man. I think that if we can get people to, young people to enjoy a healthier lifestyle, which means daytime fun, I'm totally for it, man.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, Walshy. This the curfew right now is at midnight, and I'm kind of getting used to like being able to go to sleep at 2 a.m. Maybe because we're getting older,
My
you know what I
man,
mean? But
come
I'm like,
on.
wait a second,
Talk about it. It's actually pretty cool.
And bro, and now
you get your days.
we've got it to where between 10 and 12 kind of feels like between 1 and 3 right now.
And the
like,
crowd don't get mad. And a little bit of DJ talk. Sorry if I'm alienating everybody out there. When that light comes on at 12 and the crowd goes, oh man, they want to come to the party more next time. They're more
wake up early, get fucked up during the day, and come to your brunch.
they're more inclined. Yo, my parties, my Tuesday party has been, the numbers keep going up and up and up and up. Because when it hits 11:59 and that light comes on, you see everybody go, oh man, this shit was too good. Yo, I gotta come back next Tuesday then.
Yeah, you left them with a tease.
You left them with a teeth instead of leaving them trickling out on their own. Because when they trickle out on their own, there's that time when nobody even gives a fuck about the music or the DJ no more. And I know that this might be something that DJs don't want to talk about because the mayor's listening.
Right.
And as DJs, we want to keep the nightlife going. But let's just talk some real shit, man. That 3 to 4 a.m. is a sloppy time, man. And people are so drunk and they're falling over each other. And yo, when I've seen like a girl step on glass because she took her shoes off, it's during those hours. When I've seen people vomit all over the fucking floor of the dance floor, and it's that hours. When I see the girl spill a drink on the turntable, it's that hours.
That's when you go from drunk to sloppy, that hour.
It's that bad moment.
And if we get rid of that hour, we could move it to the next day during the day, because I do love this
Let's
new
get
wave.
this fucking day parties going, man.
I love it.
Everybody come out, enjoy the sunlight, enjoy the sunset, and then, yo, get yourself a couple hours of the nighttime, and you go home.
Yo,
And
look
you
at
go
it. People
home
are going to
and-
hate us for
Yo,
this talk.
DJ, hey, any DJ that hate what I'm saying, hey, at Walshy Fire, and not with a disrespectful thing, dialogue. Let's have a
Right.
conversation about it.
Right.
I'm cool with whatever is decided. If we go to 6 a.m., I'm cool with it. If we decide to stop at 2 a.m., I'm cool with it. But I'm actually not going to act like I have not been there 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. and not sat there and said to myself, this is the sloppiest, shitty set of people. You put all of the worst, sloppiest things in one room, and now they're just falling all over each other.
Exactly.
And I would rather see each one of those bodies get home safely and get home with a brain that's conscious of what's happening. And in my opinion, that only happens when you step in as an adult to adults and say, you cannot have another drink, because this next drink is going to be the one that makes you drive home drunk and get into that accident. And I want to see those accidents stop. I want to see the rape stop. I want to see the stepping on glass stop. I want to see the overdose stop. I want to see the fight stop. I want to see the shooting stop. I want to see all of that stop. I want to see it stop just like y'all do.
Yeah.
And so I have no problem trying out things and seeing what the results are. And let's see what happens for a year. If the numbers drop, we won. If the numbers don't drop, okay, then we got a bigger problem. And we got to figure out what that bigger problem is, because the time isn't stopping it.
Bro, I've talked to multiple clubs though, and they're already that 1 to 3 like power hour that they make most of their bread. They've already got it from 10 to 12. They just moved it earlier.
They moved
So
it
what's
and the
problem?
people come out earlier. It's a fact. People still want to go out. And now at 12 o'clock when they go home, they go to bed.
Right.
And they're actually like, damn, I could wake up and go on the beach in the morning.
12 might be a little too early, which is why I always loved Wynwood closing at 3, because it's not 5. It's not South Beach.
Man,
so if
talk
South
about
Beach
it.
moves
Straight up, everybody that out there, if you don't understand, if you're not from South Florida, South Beach goes to whenever.
to 5, and
Right?
Wynwood
and
closes
Wynwood
at 3.
closing at 3. A lot of the clubs in Wynwood close at 2. So let's say 2, right? That made Wynwood's energy completely different
Exactly.
than South Beach. South Beach was super fights, dangerous shooting, and I believe that is why. I believe that those extra 2 hours put that courage juice in them dudes, and they just get rambunctious. Wynwood, yo, I never would see a fight at Wynwood. I'd never see a shootout at Wynwood. Maybe 1 or 2, but that was always make some kind of beef that happened, like
Because it's Wynwood at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, let's be clear, that's the hood. It's just
yeah. So it would be some kind of beef that was already happening, versus the random, I'm killing a complete stranger.
Yeah.
Yo, that's not really Wynwood.
Yeah.
That's South Beach. Killing strangers is not something that Wynwood people do.
You see, Walshy, I don't know if I want to see out-of-towners coming to Wynwood like that. Like, I'd rather have
That's pretty true too.
I'd rather have them stay on South Beach. You know what I mean? Because, bro, dudes is coming. They're coming strapped. Like, they're coming from fucking Boca Luca, Georgia, and these places. Like, they've been inside all day. It's been cold. Like, they're coming over here, and it feels different. It does feel different. Like,
I welcome them into Wynwood, but I do say, I feel like once they get into Wynwood, they'll feel the energy is different and just adjust and be like, oh, I don't have to. I'm not acting stupid here. Because no one's acting stupid here. They're playing Aaliyah.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
you can't shoot out to Aaliyah, bro. That's crazy.
Wynwood is a place where you get the diversity in the music. It's a fact.
Right.
You know, Wynwood is a place where you can go to a party that just plays old school hip hop.
Right.
South Beach, you don't get that. Love and Hate probably like the last party that did that on South Beach, you know?
And even, bro, Walshy, and like for Brick for 5 years, my crowd is 95% black, and it's mostly out of town, but I'm still gonna throw in a little bit of space. It's gonna sound like Miami.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go and play like how you're used to hearing in Chicago or LA. For that, stay in your city.
Right.
Like over here is a cultural melting pot. So I do like it that I get to force a little bit of Spanish, force to just hear some things. I'm going to go right back to the Pop Smoke. I'm going to go right back to the Lil Baby. But just feel this, because this is what we do in Miami. Just feel it for a little bit.
And that's why I actually welcomed them into Wynwood, because on the beach, a lot of the times they'll hire DJs from out of town as well. You know, and so you'll end up seeing the DJs really being like, yo, I'm from Brooklyn, and catering to that.
Exactly.
Versus Wynwood, where you'll get the more Miami DJs. And so I invite the out-of-towners into Wynwood, where they can get a much more Miami experience. I'd love them to walk away and go, man, Miami's a shit.
But just be careful, because the security guards at the Wynwood clubs, they're not like the security guards on South Beach. You can get away with that shit on South Beach. Wynwood, these dudes are coming straight out of jail, and they're being security guards. And so they're like the linebackers from UM. They will,
they will fuck you way up when you come in with that bullshit. Yeah. You know, so come with that love, come with a, you know, an open mind to hear some music that, you know, don't come to the DJ booth and be like, man, I'm from here and I want to hear this. You're in Miami. Just enjoy it.
Take a cultural vacation too. You know, enjoy the weather, enjoy the women, enjoy all that, but enjoy the music, bro, because this is what we do over here. Walshy, bro, we're almost at 2 hours.
We can kill it, man.
You know?
It's been
anything
love,
you want to hit up that we haven't talked about yet?
Nah,
just any real quick, any other outside ventures outside of music that you want to speak on?
I'm always doing things, man, but you know, the best thing is to show more than speak. I got big announcements coming forward very soon, so just follow me on Instagram, everybody, at Walshy Fire. Very, very big announcements coming soon, life-changing announcements coming soon, stuff that's going to make me a person that people will perceive as a community leader. Outside of my knowledge of that and my personal circle's knowledge of that, it'll be a much broader set of people that are going to go, man, Walsh is that dude. And that's very soon, announcing very soon. And shout out to all the music projects I got coming up. Too many to mention. Coming very soon. Just follow me on Instagram. You see everything.
And I appreciate you being humble, you know, coming to my crib in the hood, like in my little 1-1 apartment. So I appreciate that. Walshy Fire, legend in the city. Chopz, Miami on the Rocks. There. Oh, by the way, just plug your social media real quick for everybody.
At WALSHYFIRE.
Bam.
Walshy Fire. Big up.